sir. Good evening, everyone. The time is 5 p.m. and the Belton Independent School District Board of Trustees are now convened in a workshop on Monday, February 24th, 2025. A quorum of board members is present. This meeting has been duly called and notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Second item on the agenda, public comments.
None.
We have none. All right. Moving on down to item 3. Go to academic progress update. Let's go.
Yes, thank you, board. Gabby Nino is coming up to the podium, and she's going to be joined by Denise Ayers. And so they are here this evening to give us an academic update within Goal 2, but specifically focused on CTE and all things career ready. So I think I'm going to kick it over to Gabby to get us started.
Yes. I think I always intro this way, but I really am very excited to be at the table having conversation this evening. Yes, about just a monthly academic progress update, but really zeroing in on CCMR, which is our college career military readiness, through the frame of career readiness in Belton ISD. Simultaneous, this month is also CTE Recognition Month. And so we just had some great timing and great opportunity for us to have a conversation this evening. Our purpose is really to engage in conversation around college, career, and military readiness in Belton ISD. And I want to introduce you to a broader umbrella that's helping us frame our work that really Denise, and she'll talk to you a little bit about how we got here, is leading the work around. We have talked about each of the indicators under CCMR on several occasions in our academic updates, but we've tried to organize those into buckets to help us really track progress moving forward and build meaning across our system. The first being advanced academics. Underneath the CCMR umbrella, students can earn their readiness in many different areas, and one of the areas that we really want to invest in growth in is in advanced academics, and that under that umbrella for us is advanced placement, AP coursework, as well as dual credit, and we'll hear us talk about some work towards increasing students earning their associate's degree as well. CTE is really our career and technical education umbrella, where our students are earning those certificates to ensure they're career ready, and then also JRTC for military readiness with our students in Belton ISD. I am going to introduce, most of you have met Denise, but I am going to transition to her a little bit so that she can lead us through some conversation around how we've worked towards getting a clearer vision for the work within career readiness in Belton ISD. And I want to be very, very clear that when we talk about vision for career readiness, that is in support and in tight alignment with our Belton ISD district vision. It is not something separate from that. It is just the direction for the work and career readiness.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here with you guys today too, and I love talking about all things career readiness, so I'm excited to engage in the conversation with you. Like Gabby said, when I started about a year ago, one of the first things that I had the privilege to do was pull together a task force to really dig in and figure out what are our needs and what are our strengths around career readiness right now. And that includes advanced academics, CTE, and JROTC, which we in Belton ISD are really blazing that trail to marry all three of these things when we think about what it means for kids to be career ready. It's not just CTE, but it's a comprehensive approach to provide students multiple ways to get there. Through this work with the task force, we identified the real driver around what we believe career readiness to be, and that is to foster a spirit of curiosity and career exploration, ignite aspirations, and empower each and every student to envision and shape their future.
Bless me. Sorry. Excuse me.
And the way that we'll achieve that is to engage students in learning about work, learning for work, learning through work, and learning at work. So what that really means is we want to connect all parts of learning to meaning and purpose. So this task force also identified 4 pillars of career readiness. The first one being promotion, that leading into participation, that leading into performance, and then finally partners. And these 4 pillars are what's going to really drive the structure of our conversation today.
Yes, the 4 Ps. That make you think differently?
No.
What caused you to pause on that?
No.
They're really just frames for us thinking, and I've promised Denise I would try to limit my disruptions this evening, but do really get thrilled about this work. And I want to say to you all that we are going to work extremely hard over the next few years in these categories to ensure that every single one of our students, when they take that last step off the stage, has multiple options for them when they leave. Yes, it might be in advanced academics and college coursework that they can step in and continue their learning, or they have a certificate in hand going straight to a workforce situation, or they're in pursuit or already have their associate's degree. But these categories of thinking are really helping us to think about how we are ensuring that happens, that it's not just this getting a point under the CCMR umbrella, but that we are ensuring every single student is ready.
So one of the first areas that we really examined was promotion. And this was actually something that I even examined as I was transitioning over to Belton ISD. And one of the things that we realized was students will never be career ready if they don't know what their options are and if they don't know what steps to take to get there. And so we've done some work around creating visually appealing and very clear resources for students to see what their pathway options are in career readiness. And I want to pause just a little bit, and I'm going to pass out some goodies to you because the teacher in me is alive and well.
Denise, when does that start?
Ooh, it has her name on it.
When do we start letting kids see those things?
So students, what I'm about to show you, students and staff already have access to because we actually launched these sheets last year, and we've even perfected them this year. So these are some things that our counselors use to help students select courses, and they're looking at that with students. We're in the process of making some posters that'll be in classrooms for students to see day in and day out as well. So it's in progress right now. What you're looking at in your folder, Manuel, I'm going to grab your first one.
Sure.
I want you to take a look at just this first sheet in your folder. And all of you have something different. All of you don't have the exact same program of study sheet. So I want you to look at the one that you have, and I want you to talk with your elbow partner and just tell me what you notice about these sheets.
You're left out.
Yep.
Flows.
Flows.
A photo of someone in action doing what this is talking about.
This is like overarching umbrella, like we're talking about health
Yep.
plan.
So it's a summary of everything you need.
Yeah.
They get an
Don't do this, don't do this.
and it looks like
We can tie together.
that get from we're investigating it, kind of getting deeper, now I'm getting more prepared, now. Sounds like something applying my learning, so it's like this is a pathway.
Steps are there.
And it looks like, differently. I've got AP courses that align with this,
Oh, they're all
which I really like. Those are all here.
Do you have a question?
Laser sessions.
So it sounds like it's naturally happening.
It does.
If we could pause you for just a second, it sounds like it's naturally happening, but while you're looking at what you're seeing and standing out, what are some things that are making you curious as well? And we'll share those out.
It's just like pulling a class back together. We always have some that are ready to continue the conversation, and we have some that are still working with their elbow partners. So why don't y'all tell me a few noticings, and then tell me also what makes you curious.
Well, we're noticing the commonalities as far as the investigation, navigation, preparation, and the application, and then all the aligned endorsements. Those are all pretty common.
Yep.
With a couple of different caveats at the bottom.
That's a great noticing. So every pathway starts with investigation, goes into navigation, preparation, and then application. So it is a scaffolded experience for our students where one course and a level builds from the previous. Good. What else?
They're very visually stimulating. And I have the business marketing and finance.
Yes.
I actually have a freshman that's in this track.
Yep.
And he has a budget that's way above his parents'. So I think the coins and the dollars and the occupation, how much they can earn, because that's, again, way more than we'll ever have in his mindset, that's good for him. I think the end game of saying, like, if you want to get here in life, this is the track that you need to be on. So this is great.
Perfect. So it kind of gives a future-focused mentality with it. Awesome.
Well, I think kind of on what he's talking about, and this is my personality, I love the organization, that for kids, this is easy to understand.
Yeah.
Like, my 13-year-old could read this, and
Excellent.
I would hope. could
Excellent.
understand this. But just the layout, the organization, the flow of it, it's easy to follow along.
Perfect. It's always interesting to try to create a resource that both students will use and counselors will use and parents will use. And the idea is the front side is really intended to be student focused. And the back side is really intended for our counselors and or parents to have conversations. But the posters are going to be made from the front side. That's the student focused side.
So these posters, because these classes start in the 9th grade, these posters are going to be in our junior highs, right? Because, I mean, if my kid is already in the 9th grade and they haven't chosen something, I mean, they're already, I'm saying they're behind, but they are behind because they should have already been enrolled
Yes.
in one of these basic beginning classes, right?
Yes, and,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, go for it.
Aren't some classes in middle school too?
Yeah.
Correct.
So we are really working alongside our campuses to identify where we can move courses into middle school, because we too feel like
Right.
9th grade is a little too late. And yes, these tools will be used as a resource in our middle school classroom and advising conversations as well. I will tell you that one of the trends that I've seen, both working with campuses in my prior role and stepping into this role, is that one of our greatest areas for growth is how we're advising students. I will tell you, the first week I was in my role, a student was telling me that they want to be an engineer after high school, and I said, well, how are your engineering classes going? And they weren't aware that that was an offering. That is not okay for us, and we have got to put the tools and resources in place for, yes, our students, but also our staff to be able to advise more effectively. And so these tools have already yielded some pretty phenomenal conversations, both at the student level and with our counseling team. Denise and Tiffany have been working very closely together. We were just in learning last week and got to see them diving in, not just to courses we have, but what these mean for your future.
So how soon are kids being exposed to everything that's available to them? You know, all these things that we have here.
You want to jump in there?
Yeah. I mean, that's
So
kind of
in
just
reality,
jumping
the
off of
goal
Jeff's
is,
question.
as we're building a pre-K through 12 career readiness program, the goal is they're being exposed from the moment they come to
Okay.
us.
But how do they know what all is available to them?
What their
Currently.
choices
Yeah,
are.
what are the choices? How do they know that?
Go ahead and speak to the
Yeah.
advising piece.
Currently, it comes through the academic advising. And with that said, we noticed gaps. These are currently being printed, and we have live work happening too, so poor Denise constantly gets it. I need that, like, we need that added so there's clarity, but I'll tell you, last week, Rucker asked me a question, or 2 weeks ago, and I said, hold on, Rucker, can I walk down the hall and get a tool that's really gonna help us with this conversation? And so, rather than a paper, he got the full poster.
It was beautiful. I took pictures of it and everything.
Yeah.
Still have it, yeah.
So the resource not only gives us a picture into careers, but also a map of how you might access them. And as we're improving, they should become live tools for everybody involved. Now, right now, students start the conversations in 8th grade, and as we continue to grow and improve, the ideal is that those happen much sooner. Not necessarily saying that a student has to select their course endorsement or pathway, but they need to be exposed and they need to know about the opportunities.
Well, and if we're gonna push courses into the middle school level, we can't wait till they're in their 8th grade year to talk to them
Right.
about
Absolutely.
that. So those conversations needing to happen sooner. And we have a student advisory council that is very passionate about this topic and is giving us lots of feedback and input on, from a student perspective, when they think these conversations need to be happening and how, so.
Where's that landing? Because it would seem, I mean, I'm just a parent, but it would seem like 6th grade. I just think elementary might be a little early for kids to have an idea, but that's just a.
Well, so we're about to progress. I just saw Melinda open up.
Yes, I'm excited to get
Yes,
this,
so-
because record kind of to that point, one of the things that we've been talking, we're so excited when Denise joined the team, is this really is a pre-K through 12th grade journey. And wanting us to get clarity in our system of what can elementary students and their parents be guaranteed when they leave our elementary schools. What's the guaranteed conversations and experiences at middle school? And then ultimately, what's the guarantee in high school? And so, I don't wanna steal their thunder, but I'm very excited to talk about that, because we wanna be able to map that pre-K through 12th grade, and even beyond 12th grade, for every single one of our career clusters.
Before
Mr.
we
Norwood.
jump into what Melinda's looking at.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's gonna age me, but it's also gonna age some of the other board members here. And some of the people sitting around here. So when I was in, I wanna say the 6th grade or 7th, but I think it was 6th. Yeah, because I was at Oakwood. We all had to take a test in the 6th grade. And it wasn't the Iowa Basic Scale. It was a test that basically after that, you got to sit down with a counselor, and the counselor's like, okay, this is kind of where you're looking at being on your career goal, you know, because this is your
This
interest.
is what you're gonna do.
Yes, I don't remember what it was called. I don't remember. It had a name. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I even
right?
took that.
Well,
So we do actually give all of our 8th graders a career interest inventory. I
Okay.
think what you're talking about is an aptitude test.
That's what it was called.
Yeah.
They're slightly different. You know, aptitude is, of course, what are your abilities, and
Right.
interest is interest.
Okay.
And we do actually give all of our 8th graders a career interest inventory, and we do that before they go to their 8th grade career exploration experiences. Because students need to start to get to know themselves.
Right.
And when you do an interest inventory, that helps introduce you to yourself.
Okay. So it's on the aptitude side, because I remember that was, because I remember on that one, like, I wanted to be a vet, and they were like, it's not gonna happen. I mean, they were looking at my biology scores. And that's fine, but we do still have career tests and be like, hey, this is where
Yes, we
this
do.
is what you seem interested in.
That's correct.
We're not locking you in, but,
Right.
okay.
And one of the things that we're supporting our counselors in doing is when high school students come back and say, I still have no idea what I want to do, then we've supported our counselors in knowing which interest inventories to use, and to go through that again with our high school students, because a student may change their interest from 8th grade to 10th grade. You know, we all grow and we all develop, and it's, again, a process of getting to know yourself and plugging in the right place.
Denise, where do the parents, when are they put into the equation?
So parents actually are part of the conversation from the beginning and helping students identify their endorsements.
now, where I want to jump in is, yes, we have career inventories. Yes, we have access to some aptitude assessments. A point of growth for us is that there has to be an assured experience with each of those. And so we, at this point in time, have been giving the interest inventory. What we are working towards is connecting. Okay, my students have this interest inventory. Now, how does that inform advising? And so that has been a growth area for us, to intentionally use the resources that we have so that they are not for naught. Mr. Flora and I visited earlier in the year about this exact topic because we do have aptitude tests, we do have interest inventories, and they have been given, and now what, right? And so that's work for us, and I think you'll hear we're about to step into an example of the vision for each of our different endorsement and career pathways. We have to connect the dots of our practices so that they are all with intention. So I take an interest inventory in 8th grade. That means my counselor, my academic team's gonna sit with me and say, here are your academic strengths and challenges, here are your interests. Let's just say I tell you I wanna be a nurse after I graduate. Our job is to say, you have an interest in a healthcare pathway. Here are opportunities here for you that we're gonna connect you to, but not overlock you into something either. We're responding to your interests that will guide our path.
Abby, there's one other piece that is always, I'm not sure that we've always done very, very well, and that is getting a list of universities, colleges that kids are interested in or that would offer what they are interested in, and then also connecting that dot to the university. Because what if I want to be an engineer and I want to go to UT, or I want to go to A&M, or I want to be I want to be a business and I want to go to Baylor? How do I get there? And if I can't get there, what are my other options? So I just want to make sure that we're not just, here's what you need to do to be a nurse. We're also showing them how to get to the next step, how to get to that step after high school.
Absolutely.
Some of the work that we're doing around that is guiding our counselors to start the conversation with, what are your goals after high school? And, when students tell us they want to be an engineer or they want to be in healthcare, then some of those programs are going to naturally lead to college. And some of those programs might start with a certification so that students can go to work while they're going to college. And, a student in healthcare may start as a CMA, and then they may go to an LVN, and then they may go to an RN, and then they may become a doctor. And so we are helping students identify those steps. And just as importantly, we're helping parents identify those steps. And so these sheets will also be a part of our updated website soon. Area of growth for us.
So go
You're
ahead.
saying that's access for the parents. Someone asked that question earlier.
Yeah.
And would these be available through Parent Square as well?
We have not talked about through Parent Square. However, the course planning guide is being updated, so everything is in a single place rather than having multiple sources that we have to go to. I'm gonna nudge us along because I think some of this will emerge in our conversation, but just kind of a prelude to transition us. Your point is like the core of our conversations right now. And I'm gonna give an example. We are working very deeply with Temple College right now. And I'm proud of the planning that we have stepped into with them to do exactly what you just described. So these course guides, what we would love to have articulated on, and we are working on that as we speak, is doing a complete cross walk of all the courses that we offer that have dual credit offerings, both at Temple College and other partner schools, how those would progress into a 4-year school if needed. The partnership that would exist with Temple College, Belton ISD, and 4-year schools, so there would be overlap in the offerings.
All of which have different requirements.
Yes, and there are some challenges out, even with the Senate Committee on Public Education challenging colleges to work on alignment as well. And so we actually are in conversations with 3 different colleges right now going through this similar crosswalk process so that we can paint that picture for students as soon as they start advising. And it'll help us with that last step off the stage that I know what are my options, whether it's certified, whether it's progression, but all in a similar field of study that I'm interested in.
So just to wrap this up, to speak to one more thing on the program of study sheets, did anybody notice anything about advanced academics? So this is a new addition this year to the program of study sheets, and it is really on there intentionally Janet, to your point, because we don't have CTE students and advanced academic students. We have students who we are getting ready for life after high school, and that is each and every student. And we want each and every student to recognize that CTE could be the right choice for them, and advanced academics could be the right choice for them, and a blend of both is most likely the right choice for them, because that is what will prepare them best for the next step. As part of the promotion that you were also talking about with, actually, Jeff, you were talking about it with the career interest inventories.
Oh.
So we give those to our 8th graders in the fall, and then in January, we have what's called an 8th grade career day. The name is actually transitioned to Career Quest, and this year it was held at the Cadence Bake Center. Several of you went to that. Chris, I know that you went. Did anybody else go? So I think, Chris, you've shared a little bit about your experience. Do you want to briefly describe that?
Yeah, I mean, I went wearing my employer hat, and, you know, we sent all 4 middle schools. We did 2 at a time, like rotations. And the middle schools that were there, the middle schools that were in the room, the other middle schoolers were at their high school, right?
Okay.
Actually meeting with and sort of doing career day at the high school, and then they kind of swapped. So they got to see some of the CTE things that were happening on campus, and then also they come talk to employers. For me, you know, as wearing my employer hat, I saw what I expected to see, right?
Yeah.
I saw some 8th graders being knuckleheads, right? And I saw some 8th graders who were really connecting the dots, right? And you could see the light bulb go off. Oh my gosh, like I didn't even realize you could do that. But we could make how much money? You know, like those they were connecting the dots in their brains. Yeah, and so it was great. You know, I would love to see that like back up earlier, right? And so when we talk about like, should we or shouldn't we talk about, you know, these kinds of things in elementary school? Well, I don't know. We could talk about like why it is that we have to learn this and like what is that building towards, and you know, from a career standpoint. Like I think there are ways to sort of connect that down the road, but.
Are y'all gonna go through this? Okay.
Yeah,
So-
it was a great experience, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So leading into promotion and participation, you know, creating awareness for students is job number 1. They have to know what their choices are. And then job number 2 is providing those experiences for them to participate in. Our holiday extravaganza is an example of one of those. And while at first glance, it might look like, hey, this is a great holiday experience for us to be able to, you know, share a few things, let some programs make a little bit of money, but it's so much more than that. It was really an opportunity for our students to showcase their skills and to practice employability skills, the exact competencies that are highlighted in our journey of a graduate. It's something that engaged our community and let students practice becoming career ready. So, and that's participation across the board, across every program. And then on the right-hand side of this screen, you see a picture of 2 little girls listening to each other's heart. This is an example of an activity that launched with our Journey of a Healthcare Graduate. This particular experience launched last May with 5th graders from Southwest Elementary and Leon Heights. So if you want to, Melinda is dying to talk about this, so let's
We all are.
so that she can actually stay in her seat. Look at your Journey of a Healthcare Graduate roadmap. These are assured experiences that we've committed to implement at each grade level so that we can truly begin that pre-K through 12 journey for our students. We dove into healthcare to get started with because while I really wanted to dive into every single program area, I have learned over the years of my life that you really can eat an elephant only one bite at a time. So we started with healthcare, but this is an example of something that we plan to implement across every program of study. So you could see that students start in 2nd grade with the Dare to Dream program, and that launched this year. Practitioners from Baylor Scott and White go to Southwest Elementary about once a month, and they teach our second graders TEKS-aligned STEM-based learning in their science classes. It's fantastic because they're learning from industry professionals, and they're not losing any time on standards that we have to teach. And so it's a win-win in every situation. We progress. I should have gotten a folder for myself, but from there, so that's second grade, and then third and fourth grade, we plan to launch this April a little mini conference for our third and fourth graders at Southwest Elementary. That'll take place at South Belton Middle School, the middle school to which they'll matriculate. For our middle schoolers, we recently held a little mini conference called Healthcare Horizons, and that was held, like I said, for 6th through 8th graders at South Belton Middle at Belton High School. And then we have solid programming already in place in our healthcare classes at the high school level. So the goal has been to create those assured experiences at our elementary and middle school levels. And again, that's an example of what we'll do across all of our programs of study. Melinda, did I say it all?
Will there be an opportunity to expand to other campuses?
Yes.
Absolutely, yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
I was hoping that you would ask that. So just like Denise said, you needed to start somewhere. And the topic has come up even at this table today about when is the right time to start. I would argue pre-K is the right time to start. In fact, Denise, her interview was for her role was in our pre-K classrooms. If you've seen the murals on the wall, each one of them is to create an experience, and we can draw a direct line to the experiences our students have at high school and beyond. We want deep partnerships where our community partners can see that it's safe to come into our elementary schools. I have value. Yes, I might be a physician, and I can teach second grade as well. It also is some work that we have to do to make sure that our teachers understand you can let go and share your standards a bit, and our partners can design some really great experiences. And so, yes, we have started there, and I will also tell you, like, we want to heavily embed ourselves in Southwest Elementary and South Belton Middle School as well, and building out some of these healthcare pathways and to a deep level in those places. But absolutely are looking at the opportunities across all of our campuses.
Any other questions?
Do you have a plan on how soon? I mean, no, it's probably not gonna happen next year, but how soon could we expand it further?
I would argue that some of it can happen next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And quite a bit of it.
And I guess that's just pure volunteer basis for, like, a physician coming in. How does that work with them? They're just coming in on their own time to do that?
So many of our residents have required volunteer hours,
Okay.
and so that's part of their learning experience.
So we've spent quite a bit of time this year growing our partnership with Baylor Scott and White and Baylor College of Medicine as well, so that we are learning their systems and they're learning our systems as well. And their first big step was we can have an agreed upon partnership where your residents are coming in to support here, and we are so thankful for that. Poor Dr. Avotz was standing next to me in a Southwest classroom the first time they came in, and he's amazing and wonderful, and we're shoulder to shoulder. And I said, isn't this amazing? Now, how many students do you have? Let's see how we can grow this, and how, like, you just have to feel safe and feel like it goes well, and everybody has a great experience, and then it grows really quickly. So we've got great partnerships growing with them that we're very excited about.
And if there's any way that we can help promote that among the healthcare workers that we know, because I think in our community, just on this board, like, we connected with quite a few of our Baylor Scott and White doctors and residents in this area.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
All right. Well, we're gonna keep going into the third P, and I wanna make sure that I'm connecting us back to what we're working to achieve with our targets here. All of this that we're having conversation around is in service of our CCMR targets. And so you've seen this before, just our goal under CCMR. increasing the number of students who meet criteria to 84, with 84% with our 2024 graduates. I want to show you just already our projection based on the graduates of 2024. And if you recall, CCMR's reported on last year's graduates. We feel very confident that we're going to exceed our goal in CCMR. And so I'm happy to hear that. And I also want to just reinforce that we still have growth to do. And one of the biggest areas of growth that we have to make is in the area of advanced academics, meaning our dual credit courses and our AP courses. And what I would say is in these reality-based experiences. We are not working to create these experiences just to meet an indicator. It's because we believe in this work and we believe in the opportunities for students. And I think Denise has shared some great examples of that today. But do want to share with you some additional performance-based data that falls into this category.
So we'll start with the industry-based certifications. Just to orient you to what you're seeing, in 22-23, we had 438 students earn 723 IBCs. So what that means is multiple students earned more than one IBC. That is fantastic, and we want to continue to support that. But what we really want to see is the increase in students earning an industry-based certification, because that's going to mean that each and every student is ready to walk across our stage. They're going to be ready for when they leave us. And we put some intentional things in place this last year, and we're continuing that now. And that is, we essentially created some benchmark expectations for leading up to the IBCs. So teachers, similar to STAR exams, you have benchmarks to kind of see where your students are and what their readiness is. With every benchmark, you look at the data, and teachers are able to adjust their instruction in order to proceed to support students in their success. So CTE teachers determine dates for up to 3 benchmarks. With each one, they review the data, they adjust their instruction, and you could see that it's led more students to achieve success for those certifications, because this last year, we almost doubled the number of students earning an IBC, and the number of IBCs earned increased by nearly 78%.
I had the opportunity to be in a classroom at Belton High School where the students were showing me their projects. They were electrical projects, and showing how they were able to wire what would have looked like if you were building your own home, and they were setting up a control panel and connecting I'm going to really show my ignorance. Circuits and wires to the control panel. But they were able to talk through it, and it was all in service to and getting ready for their industry-based certification. And so it was really amazing to talk to our students, what they've learned, why they picked that course, and how many already have positions secured. They're seniors and have positions secured for next year. Some are wanting to go to a trade college and know exactly where they're going to go, and use that industry-based certification to help them pay for that. Others already have that job secured and have industry-based certifications, and we'll be doing more this spring to have them prepared for those positions. And so it was just great to hear that directly from our students.
So, quick question. So, I know that every one of these pathways that we have IBCs with them. Maybe this won't make any sense, but on the CCMR data that we're responsible for, how many IBCs does a student have to achieve in order for us to get that check?
1.
Okay.
And IBCs are not the only way.
Right. That's just one of the ways that we can meet the goal, though.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And this I shared with you all last year, but I think the more we talk about it, just the stronger knowledge that we have around it. I'm one of the people who was celebrating that we doubled our IBCs in the fall of last school year. That is fantastic. but we have to increase the actual number of students who are earning that, because we could have a small group of students earning a large number of certificates.
Right.
And for the students who graduated in 2023, it would have been enough for us just to earn the IBC. Every year, there's a progressive level of accountability added beyond just the IBC. And so we're moving into students moving beyond explorers, meaning they try out several classrooms, into concentrators, where it's the IBC plus the coursework that accompanies it. And then the next progression for the coming school year will be, are they considered completers or not? So they need to be moving into those advanced, into the advanced coursework associated with their area of interest.
Because you could, because the CCMR, college, career, military, but very easily a kid could go through Belton ISD, be ready to go to Rice, and not have a single IBC, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, but they would still, I mean, because whatever path they took, maybe didn't include them and all that.
Absolutely.
100%. And that is one of the nuances to why we feel like we've got to add in this bigger picture what the advanced coursework offerings are as well. Because we don't want students feeling like it's either CTE or
Right,
academics.
because we try to get away from that. Right.
Absolutely. And the hands-on reality-based learning is happening in our CTE courses.
So data, actually, research shows by the Department of Education shows that if students take at least one CTE course, they're more likely to be successful in college. Just one CTE course helps college success. And a lot of the reason for that, to Gabby's point, is the hands-on application of the theory. When we know how to apply the learning, that's what deeply embeds it in us.
Well, and it's already, the career piece of it is kind of built into what they're learning in those classes.
Correct.
So it makes them think on a more adult level.
Yes.
Just automatically.
Yes.
They have to
Yeah.
be responsible for things that are not just schoolwork.
Correct. Which completely aligns to our journey of graduate competencies. Yep, it's all encompassing.
So I'm going to move through a couple more data points for us just to frame the things that fall under this advanced academics umbrella. And we're going to really focus on that number of students accessing in the same way that we did with IBCs. What you're seeing here is the number of students who have been engaged with advanced placement coursework over the last couple of years. The very first row just tells us how many students were actually enrolled in an AP course. The second one tells us how many courses were actually taken. So the reason the number looks so different is because we have students who took multiple courses, right? So the data can, if you're not wrapping your head around it, it can get confusing pretty quickly. What we've seen in the last year is the percent of students who are challenging the AP exam has increased, and we want to celebrate that.
You mean by that means taking it?
Yes. So for a student to take an AP class and for that to actually transfer into college credit, they will have needed to challenge the exam associated with that course. And in order for them to earn credit at the course level, they need to have earned a 3 or above on their assessment. And so what we've seen is in the last 2 years, the number of students who are challenging the exam has increased, as well as the performance actually on that exam. And I'll tell you a couple of things that have happened is, one, just prioritizing it. We're having intentional conversations with students about the value in the assessment, and we've been working very hard to minimize some of the economic difficulties that come along with that assessment. It is not an inexpensive assessment to take. There are ways to get the course fees reduced for our economically disadvantaged students, but our campuses have been working really hard to help identify additional ways, as well as our department, to remove that barrier for them. We don't have the performance level for this year yet because our students are sitting in the courses right now, but we do see an increase in the number of students who are enrolled and challenging those assessments.
Can you remind us how we get our points in CCMR based on AP? Like, do they have to score a 3 or above, or like how do we get our points for that?
Yes.
That's correct. They have to score a 3 or higher on the exam.
Okay.
And that, like, first column, 50% is 50% of the 44 who took it.
That's correct.
Yes.
I do want to note, we added AP Seminar this year and AP Pre-Cal, which influenced the increase in enrollment. So we increased student opportunities to take AP exam courses.
So interestingly enough, like I'm seeing the score of 3 be less and less accepted. So I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night because I was trying to figure out, like, before the deadline on Friday of signing up for your AP exams, like, okay, where does my son want to go to school? He's taken 4 AP classes. Which AP test does he actually want to take based on the school he wants to, schools he wants to go to in the degree plans? And in almost every case, like I was seeing 4 be the new score.
So we've had some really interesting conversations, both Denise and I, and then I've had a couple separately, just on the impact of the standardized assessments with college entry right now. And you know, for a couple of years post-COVID, there was really a pullback. And I just recently met with Tarleton State, and they did share that they are reevaluating the value of each of the assessments. And so, again, like, we have to continue strengthening our advising for students and making sure that we have the ongoing conversations with the universities around how they're looking at that. But there is a requirement that they can't award credit unless they earned a 3 or higher on it. So the university rule is they cannot give a child or a graduate credit for the course unless they had 3+. And now universities can then raise it if they want to.
Right, yeah, I think 3 is like the floor.
Yes.
Right.
The 3 is what the state is saying to
Yeah.
us.
Right.
But I think just my independent research for many hours last night says that
Yes.
4 is the reality.
And then you discover that, say, one university will take all the biomedical, courses and let you, that's it, you're done, you don't have to take them in college. And then others will say, that's great, we'll give you credit, but you still have to.
You still gotta take it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And pay for it.
That's some of the reason that there's real benefit in providing both AP options as well as dual credit options, as well as even certification options. Because for the students who know where they want to go to college and, they have supportive parents that help them figure out all of those details, and our counselors can help them dig into all of those details, then they can select the right AP course for them and know that that college is going to give them credit for that course. But if they're not yet sure where they're going to go to college, they do have additional options. And simply taking an AP course will create a level of rigor that mirrors a college experience.
Or dual credit.
Yeah.
So let's talk dual credit.
Yeah, just, so I have, we raised 5 children. 2 children, well, 3 ended up at the University of Texas. 1 student struggled mightily to make a 3 or above on an AP exam, tried it twice, switched to dual credit, got into UT, did exceptionally well, graduated as successful. A daughter who could make a perfect score on every AP and wanted to take every AP test known to man, also went to UT and was successful and graduated UT. And so I think what Denise and Gabby are talking about is how do we take each of these career clusters and ensure that students have AP course routes through this cluster, or they can do dual credit or both.
Right.
And or they have industry-based certifications. So we're wanting to make sure that students have all of those options within these different career clusters and career pathways, so that based on the individual aptitude and needs of the students, not everybody's a great test taker.
Yeah.
If you go back, I would argue that we need to see if we have that many students taking AP courses, would really like to see that number of students taking the actual AP exams increasing. The challenge, like, I'd like to see it equal.
Yeah.
If you've got 100 kids taking AP, you have 100 students taking the exam. The challenge with this one is the cost that the individual family has to incur on the AP tests.
How much are they? I mean, I'm just asking. What are we talking?
99
It's
about
Yeah.
For each one.
for each assessment.
Yeah.
If you have a child going into an engineering school, say A&M, UT, they think their senior year, they might be taking 5 AP exams.
Right.
Okay.
So I
And if
feel
you
like
have
there might be
multiple
some
siblings.
scholarship ways that we can work with that, with our scholarship foundation, and with some other donors, whatever we need to do. I think kids in socioeconomic disadvantage need those paid for.
We do have some supports for students, Gabby.
Yes, we actually, over the last year, have worked towards identifying additional support. So one of the easiest ways for us to support students is to make sure that they are eligible for free and reduced lunch if needed. And that doesn't mean it's not a hardship on anybody else, but if they're eligible, then there's a significant reduction down to $25, I think is the actual total on it. But then we also have worked internally to identify different funding sources that we might use specifically to support economic disadvantaged students or families who have multiple children testing or students who are taking multiple assessments. We have not been able to find a way to eliminate all of it yet, and I don't know that we ever will get all the way there, but we are in routine practice of trying to identify barriers that we can eliminate associated with.
Quick time check, it's 5:52.
Go ahead. I'm gonna do, to real quick wrap this up and just connect out to dual credit real quick. Similarly, but flipped, dual credit is way for students to earn college credit during the school day while they are a Belton ISD student. What we are intentionally working with right now is how can we eliminate those barriers as well? Because currently, a student who's accessing dual credit, we only have one course in our system that our instructor is the provider of that instructor. So we're working with human resources right now and surveying our teachers because many of our teachers have the necessary credentials to become a dual credit instructor. And so what our goal is to increase access to dual credit as well and to look for ways to include our staff in it, which will help eliminate some of the scheduling conflicts as well as the significant cost impact. If our employees are providing it, it almost all the way reduces the tuition cost for students. And so we are actively working on that right now so that we can increase dual credit enrollment as well for our students. The difference between AP and dual credit, really with access, and I hope I don't butcher it, but for AP, students enroll in the course and they test at the end of it. And so they need to get the 3% or challenge the assessment, the 3 or above. In dual credit, a student needs to be TSIA ready for most of our courses to be able to enter. So there's entry criteria to access the course as well. And so we're systemically putting routines in place to increase the number of our students who are ready to enter dual credit coursework.
And
as well.
currently, they test at 10th grade
Yes,
or on the TSIA.
yes, but they are eligible to test sooner. And so they're similar to moving CTE courses down. We are looking at opportunities that we need to move down to increase access to our students and not have any arbitrary barriers in place.
So we'll wrap up with our last P, and that is talking about partners. And what you see here are 2 examples of very strong partners that we have. On your left is Baylor Scott and White. We've talked about them already. And on your right is Don Ringler Toyota, or Don Ringler Automotive Group. And like I said, these are 2 examples of deep relationships across our health science program of study and our automotive program of study. And these are the types of partnerships that we want to establish across all of our programs of study. These partners invest deeply in our students. They both come to campus, like I've talked about with our Baylor Scott and White partners, as well as have our students at the work site. Students from both Belton High School and Lake Belton High School go to both Don Ringler Toyota and Chevrolet to have work-based learning experiences, and they work directly alongside those industry professionals. Don Ringler has also donated $40,000 worth of equipment that we can use in our on-site shops so that students can have that workforce-aligned experience right here in our own schools before they reach their senior level, to be even more ready to have those experiences on their work site. And then lastly, I'll mention our Business and Industry Advisory Council. We've restructured the involvement or engagement with our community members to be less of a report out with our Business and Industry Advisory Council, and to become more of an engaging experience. In fact, our council members were heavily involved in giving guidance on our updated programs of study. They advised on courses that they felt like we should go ahead and sunset or eliminate, and to where we could focus on the high priority areas, and to be able to have industry professionals dig deep into that and to guide us in that is what creates the relevance for our programs.
We are, for the first time ever, the
Nope.
CTE.
Not yet. Keep going. Don't end us. I got something I want to say, so don't end us.
Oh, gosh.
Sorry.
I think that was my signal to
No, I
stop.
just don't want anybody to wrap it up. I want to say a few things at the end.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm really proud. Now I'm like, oh my gosh. So this year, we in Belton ISD earned a District of Distinction from CTAT, which is the state organization for career and technical education. And I'm extremely proud of that accomplishment. At the teacher level, our campus leader level, Denise stepping into her role and helping us really solidify systems quickly. I couldn't be more thankful for that, and for you all and the support that you've given us in championing the offerings that our students have. So,
We were
Melinda?
one of 38 districts across the state to receive this award. So,
How many?
Say that
yeah.
again.
one of 38
One of
districts.
38.
I'm excited about that. Yes, so I do want to be a little geeky for a minute and talk about goals. I know on the agenda tonight, we are going to have a goals discussion. But when we look at what they are creating in this document, trying to make it clear for our families, we also want to make sure that their industry certifications, when I think about goal 1, on strengthening and support the engagement of stakeholders, and you think about our values and beliefs around community engagement enhances the educational experiences of our students. We want a guarantee that we have in the career cluster and within our career pathways that we are really clear. These are the partnerships in this community that are pouring back into our students and will support our students in being career ready. Here are the ways our students can earn, and our students can earn, and we're looking to only increase their ability to earn an associate's degree while they're earning a high school diploma. You know, so we want to build this out so that it is really clear for our students the investment our community is even making in them and the options they have available. And I am going to tie it back to our vision. I feel this is exceptionally aligned to our work around our vision. So if we think about empowerment, so empowering each and every, that's that they learn the academic knowledge and skills along the way, and they have the experiences to grow the competencies along the way, and they can earn industry-based certification, college credit, so that they are aware of their options, they are eligible, and they are prepared to take that. And so I feel like I'm super proud of these ladies and the work that's happening, and feel like this is extremely aligned to our vision and living proof that we are going to do nothing but continue to build systems to support our students so that vision happens for each and every. So I just want to say thank y'all for your work.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Great
Thank you
job.
very much.
Anything else?
I think that's it, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, that concludes our board workshop this evening. There being no further business, we are adjourned at 5:59 p.m.
We do have one more minute. I do have another.
Start walking.